Hello everybody, GGC Anime here, and today we're here to review the 100 girlfriends who really love you. So without further ado, let's just hop right into this. So what is the story behind this anime? To put it simply, our boy, Chadtarou, or Rentaro if you want to be actually specific of his actual name, just suffered his 100th rejection after confessing to a girl. And since he doesn't want his upcoming high school life to be full of just loneliness and stuff like that, he decides to go to a god shrine and ask, hey, can you get me a girlfriend in high school? And then the god of said shrine is just like, oh yeah, you're gonna get a girlfriend. Actually, you're gonna get 100 of them. So look forward to that. And then after that, Rentaro tries to go off and find his first batch of girlfriends, and he can maybe pick who it is. However, there's a twist where it turns out any girl who he doesn't pick ends up dead or stuck in a life of loneliness. I don't know the very specifics of it. I'm pretty sure it's one of those two things, or maybe it's both mixed together. I don't know. But basically, because of this, he decides that rather than trying to date one, he wants to date all of them. And thus, his goal to take care of all 100 girlfriends begins with this season. So yeah, that's the best story summary I really got. So let's just hop into some spoiler-free thoughts. So in terms of spoiler-free thoughts, I freaking love this anime, man. Like, I am shocked just how genuinely fun this is. From its awesome fourth wall breaking moments to its hilarious characters, there's only like one character in the entire story that I'll probably talk about in the spoiler section who I think is just the worst. I hate them. And they just kind of ruin the anime a little bit, but not too much. Just overall, the anime is still really fun, and it's just I'm just amazed at how freaking funny this whole show is. Like, I thought maybe I'd get a good chuckle. In fact, I thought the show was just gonna kind of be one of those goofy, trashy shows that I'd watch for fun. But I'm shocked about how much I genuinely enjoyed a lot of these moments, from the hilarious comedy of the characters and how we don't even really have to bother too much on trying to get the girlfriends involved with everything. They're just there. They're in love with Rentaro at first sight, and that kind of clears up a lot of the picture, so we can dedicate actual time to character development. And I feel like that really helps balance everything out as we get to really dive deeper into each character throughout the episodes. And it just astounds me how freaking entertaining all these episodes are. There's only like maybe one episode I can think of out of the entire season that I could say I genuinely didn't care much for at all. It was just kind of a weird episode, which if I talk about in the spoiler section, I might. Well, we'll see when we get to that. But just overall, this anime is it's so fun. It's legitimately a fun time. I am shocked at how much I enjoyed it. And every single character minus one specific character, all of them are really fun to watch. Like, I was surprised. There was even one character I thought I was going to hate. However, as the story went on, I found that she was actually a lot more fun once we progressed, which I'll get into that probably later as well. And it astounds me how hard it was to get bored watching this anime, because it was so entertaining. Every single episode had something fun going on, and sometimes it also was serious. Like, it knew how to balance its serious and funny moments, and I am amazed at how much thought and just care went into each and every one of these characters, and how you think that because there's 100 girls here, they move on from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then they just move on. But no, they try to dedicate time to each and every character, give them some character development, and really just flesh out that character more, which I really appreciate. It just really helps bring these characters out and makes you want to cheer them all on as they start to date Rentaro, who honestly, I am shocked at how much fun Rentaro is as a character. Like, I thought he was just gonna be the generic MC without too much going on for him, but no, he's actually someone who's super dedicated to the girls he cares about, and it's very clear that this man, he's just like the perfect boyfriend. It makes you wonder how the heck, up to this point, has he not gotten a girlfriend, because he's so loyal, he's so kind, and he tries to support every single one of them and loves them all equally, and just, it astounds me how much he loves each and every one of them and how he's able to work hard for all of them. And it's amazing. Rentaro's an amazing character. This entire show is just amazing. I love it. It's hilarious, and everything about it is just fun. It is legitimately one of probably my favorite comedy animes I've ever seen, not just a romance anime, which it actually does a pretty good job in that department as well. Since I've been watching a few romance animes, but not too many lately. I don't know. I just haven't really been getting into them a lot lately, but this one in particular, I just keep coming back to because it's just so wholesome. It's so fun. I love it. And I was so happy to sit through this whole experience. It was just so entertaining. And with the announcement of season 2, I'm very excited to watch season 2. I want it to come as soon as possible, but if they need to take their time, they can. I'm not going to push them. If they need to take their time, they can. But I would appreciate a second season, as the first season was just so good. I loved it. And yeah, quick little mention here, I actually picked up the manga a little while ago, and I've now read up to volume 7, and I can say that the series is still fantastic. There are still moments here and there that are kinda iffy for me, but overall, I'm still really enjoying myself, and it just gets me excited to see how I'll look animated since the manga is so much fun. That's all I can really say without spoiling anything, so we're just gonna hop to the spoiler section now. Here's the timestamps, that way if you want to skip all the spoilers and stuff, you can go straight to the end. However, if you would like to hear spoilers, or you're fine with spoilers, I'd recommend sticking around and hearing my thoughts, since I do have more to talk about, so I'm just gonna catch up at 5, and I'm going to enter the spoiler section. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so, in terms of spoilers, while I am fairly positive about this anime, there are a few negatives, and those negatives, more than anything, have to rely on the fact of a few of the character introductions, as well as the second episode being kind of one of the weakest episodes of the whole show. Like, when I watched the first episode, it was so good, I ended up watching it the next week after that, like right before episode 2 aired. I made sure to rewatch the first episode, because it was just a fun episode. I loved it a lot, it was really fun, and I was very excited to see what episode 2 out in store, but then it was just this whole plot about Rentaro trying to get his first kiss with his first 2 girlfriends, Karane and Hyakkano, and it was a fine plot overall. It was funny in its own way. It had its ups and downs, but it was also the introduction episode of what I consider to be the worst character in this series, and that is the vice principal, who is meant to be this joke, monster-like character who creates this tension and stuff like that. She's just this monster-like alien creature of a human, and I don't even know if she's human, and she is the worst. Like, I don't like her character at all. I'm sure that she's just there to add more comedic stuff to the episodes and stuff like that, but I don't know, I just don't like her. I thought she was just the creepiest and most unsettling part of the whole show, which I guess is probably the point of her character, but at the same time, she kind of makes things a bit weird, because there are other side characters in this. Like, there's this monkey lady who runs her whole group of people, and that's funny. I think that's a really funny introduction of new characters, even if they only appeared for 1 episode. However, this vice principal appears for multiple episodes, and she's just not that funny of a character. She just makes me uncomfortable and really brings down the episodes, at least for me personally. Like, whenever she's on screen, I'm immediately just like, oh, come on! And I get so sick of her being on screen, which is why I'm glad that she's not in a huge chunk of the season. Since if she was, this anime probably wouldn't be as good as I've been saying it is, because she is just the absolute worst. Like, I think she is probably the most unfunny and frustrating part of this show, but yeah. But that's not the only reason why I don't really like episode 2. I think it's just because of the fact that compared to all the other episodes, which do these pretty fun things overall, episode 2 really only exists to do the whole first kiss plotline. It gets really confusing with everything they try to do. And even though they reveal that the reason they didn't do the simple solution was because that Rentaro didn't want them to think that they'd have to kiss each other along with him, but it's just, it just wasn't a very solid episode for me personally. I thought it was kind of a weak episode, but thankfully that's the only super weak episode, since the rest of the season is just so fun. Like, every single episode is so entertaining. Each of the girls has their own personality traits. They play off of cliches, and it balances all the things so well. It's so good. It basically just made every single episode a blast. And plus, each of the girls has their own, as I mentioned, character development moments, such as the character Shizuka is a nervous talker who can't really talk through anything but her books, and so Rentaro decides, I'm gonna stay up for multiple nights and rewrite the whole book she uses into an audio book that she can use text-to-speech with, and it just shows off how awesome Rentaro is. And there's also characters like Kusuri, who originally I thought she was just kind of like the goofy drug dealer type character, which was funny enough, but then they do this whole thing where it's not only revealed that she ended up driving all of her clubmates away, but then she also accidentally starts this kiss apocalypse where all of Rentaro's girlfriends turn into kiss zombies who try to kiss him. And I really thought that storyline would suck. Like, I really thought I wasn't going to like it, but then it's one of the funniest storylines in the whole show, which isn't really saying too much because every storyline is super freaking funny. Although I don't know how I feel about the final main storyline with Hakuri and her mother Hahari, but that whole storyline, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I really love how each of these characters gets their developments, and we get to see Rentaro deal with them as he tries his best to help them accept themselves, as well as accept them as his girlfriends. And it's just, the show's just so good, man. I love every character, every single character, well, minus the vice principal. Every single character is just fun to watch, and I really enjoy everything about this. The comedy is on point, and there's just a lot of really awesome things to talk about with the show. Like, for example, it's fourth wall breaking. Now, I'm sure the manga also has a lot of fourth wall breaking, but in the anime, they'll try to add their own custom fourth wall break moments sometimes as well. Such as in the first episode, where the god has a few extra lines. However, when they do that, they actually cut out his lines and cut straight to Rentaro saying, "If you're lying, can I burn down the shrine?" Which is funny. It's really funny, and it's just... Oh man, there's just moments like that, especially with how the god after that screams, "Some of my lines got cut!" And it's just, oh man. I love this anime, man. It's definitely gone up there as one of my top favorite shows. It was so much fun, and it gets me really excited for what season 2 might have in store. It's just such a good anime, man. I loved it. And I guess now we should probably talk about the biggest storyline, I guess you could say, of the season, which is the final main storyline. And that is the big situation where Hakari's mother, Hahari, is trying to drive Rentaro away because she doesn't want her daughter to date a 5-timer. And it makes sense. I get where she's coming from, but at the same time, she's so overprotective that I can't really say, no, she's in the right here. Because if she was a bit less overprotective, like, if she wasn't like, "Oh man, I'm gonna treat her like she's my own treasure. I'm gonna make sure that she never sees anyone I don't want her to see again." It's just like, yeah, that's a bit much. But if she was more like, "I'd rather you not see this person, so could you please not?" then maybe I'd be a bit more on her side. But her over-exaggerated care for her daughter, which I understand, I fully get why. When she explained her backstory, I fully get why that is. It doesn't really help me get on her side. But I remember going into that whole arc thinking that I was going to hate Hahari as a character. Like, I genuinely thought in the first episode that she was introduced that I would completely hate her, because that episode I did hate her. I thought she was horrible and I really didn't like her. Even when I thought about it and that she kind of made sense, I still didn't like her. But then after that, we watched the next 2 episodes and she just becomes such a great character. Because, well, for one, she doesn't just immediately drive Rentaro and friends out and just tries to push them away. Instead, she confronts them, telling them, "Please stop coming near Hakari." But then after that, she ends up making eye contact with Rentaro, and after that happens, she falls in love with him as well, because it turns out she's another one of his soulmates. And what I originally thought was going to be a stupid decision where she was going to just be like, "Oh man, I love you now, Rentaro. I'm fine with you 5-timing me and my daughter, or 6-timing in this case." But they didn't do that, and I really do appreciate that, as instead she immediately comes back to her senses after she falls in love with him, and then she sees with his actions that he means every word he says when he says that he's going to die to keep Hakari safe, which he proves when Hakari fell out a window. But then Rentaro, well, he didn't really catch her, he fell with her, but then he kicked off a wall and landed them both in the lake and revealed to Hahari that he fully meant it when he said that she would survive and he would protect her all that time. And it really was a great moment, as it showed that Hahari didn't just immediately completely fall for Rentaro and completely forget all of her anger towards him. She actually sees that, yes, this man is someone that she can entrust her daughter to, as well as herself, since he takes her as a girlfriend as well after that. And it's just, there are so many great moments in this show. Even more simple episodes like AI, who tries to, and also, yes, I know, her name is literally AI, but she doesn't really understand the point of friendships and relationships. But then after falling for Aijo Rentaro, our main boy, she ends up realizing that there are other things that you can put into your life that don't always have to be efficient. And that was a really good story arc, even if it was more of a one-off episode. And it's just, oh man, every single girl in the show, along with Rentaro himself, just gets so much development. And I just love everything about how this could have been a generic trashy rom-com that has nothing special to it, but it manages to mix its comedy along with its serious moments and stuff so well that I get super invested. And I love everything about this show, minus the vice principal and all of that. But other than that character, I think the show is great, and I'm very excited for when season 2 arrives sometime. I don't know when, maybe late 2024 or early 2025, or maybe later than that. I don't know how long it takes to make an anime, but I'm very excited for that. I would love to see more. And overall, I just really love this anime, and it was so good. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. So we're at the conclusion of this video, and what are my final thoughts? Overall, I love this anime. It's not perfect. There are definitely some ups and downs here and there, but overall, it was just the perfect mix of wholesome and hilarious. It was so good. I loved it. It was so much fun. And while, again, it's not perfect, I really enjoyed it, and that's why I give the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You a very high 9 out of 10. That's all I have to say, and thank you all for watching. If you're new to the JGC Anime channel, don't forget to subscribe. I also do anime fans to the channel, and I will see you all around. Peace!